Okay, so I'm going to run through compensation. And again, I'm starting off in kind of a HR portal landing page in SharePoint 2010. And I'm looking through, this different information, different web parts, and different types of content that are here. Navigation here at the top, and I'm just going to go jump into compensation. And so, compensation navigation could look like, basic pay and comp history, pay stubs, tax withholding, and a comp report. And again, this is coming from an employee self-service perspective. So I'm just going to kind of focus on just some of these basic things. And remember that this layout is completely customizable. This is SharePoint, so this web part here could be over here, or you don't have to use all of these web parts in one page. This can look like so many different things, and I'll show a couple of other examples. Um, but I'm just going to kind of run through some of these functions quickly here. So here for pay comp history, I can look at, like, say, the last pay stub, for example. And here this is not a particularly formatted pay stub, but just to show that a document can be viewed, it can be printed and exported to PDF. It can be, we have kind of a blue highlight color here, but it can be in any color. This is all CSS file controlled. We could search for pay stubs by date, so I could, go through and select a particular month and select an end date, and I can search. It's also possible here I have kind of like, say, this could be the last few pay stubs, so I can look through and say, just by default, just show me the last 3 or 4 pay stubs, and that way the employee can always go and look at those last few and print them and do whatever they need to do, and or export to PDF. So a number of different capabilities there. So this can be kind of a quick search, quick view, or a quick view, quick access to pay stubs. This compensation history could be a little more in depth and provide more detail, and that's all configurable within MyOVS. Tax withholding. So we provide the ability for the employee to maintain their federal and state tax withholding details. So, for example, employee can come in and change their filing status from, say, single to married, or head of household, change the number of exemptions, change an additional withholding amount. Those would be kind of standard self-service fields available for an employee to maintain, and then go ahead and make that update. Similarly for state, in this case, I think in the state of David Phillips is in the state of Georgia. Same thing, change of filing status, exemptions, and additional withholding. So just having that kind of ease of use and that quick ability to make those types of changes, this makes a compensation focused experience very real and very possible for an end user. Now, for, say, a manager could come in and, say, run a particular report for his or her organization. So selecting an organizational unit and then selecting, say, employees by specific employees from a list, say, within an org unit, and then being able to select a date range, and then being able to look at that employee detail. And again, this is all the data elements in this report are not set in stone by any means. This report could be exported to Excel or printed directly, or if a customer has a specific set of compensation reports or a custom compensation related report that they would like to surface here in SharePoint. Very, very easy to do, so very straightforward to do that. So again, just being able to have that kind of some business intelligence behind compensation available to managers in SharePoint. So here's an example of something we did in SharePoint 2010 for a company called MPL Construction. And here you can see a couple of different things. One is the ability to look at the last 4 pay stubs for the employee, as well as the ability to search for a particular pay stub. So if I just look at this last pay stub, for example, I can see a very nice rendering of that pay stub that can be saved as a PDF, printed right here from the browser, and it's very easy to consume, and it's pre-formatted, and the formatting here is customizable, and data elements can be added. A background graphic could be added, or a watermark could be added. And so this is a very compelling paystub option. Similarly, we also did W-2s for MPL. So very simple. Employee comes here and can select a particular tax year and be able to view their W-2. And here you can see again a formatted W-2 output, a reissued statement that can be again printed. The employee can take this and submit it to the bank for refinancing or for a new loan or what have you. Okay, and then one other thing I wanted to show is we also, in addition to SharePoint, we also have compensation for in HTML5, and we have compensation in HTML5 as well as native iOS and native Android. I'm going to show compensation in HTML5 and native iOS. So I'll go into HTML5, and I can again, this is HTML5. I'm using my iPad, and I'm using Safari, and I can just kind of show. I just kind of come into say a sample menu like this, select compensation, and I can again look at a particular pay stub, and I can drill down into that pay stub, or I could search again, and notice that I have a date roller. That's native to iOS. Even though this is an HTML5 application, we have the ability to use or emulate these types of controls. So for a particular device that an employee is using, even though they're logging into an HTML5 mobile web application, it will use or will provide a native-like experience. So I can go ahead and say I can search for pay stubs in the same way I could do in SharePoint, and I could look at any number of these, and again, drill down and look at any of the details. Similarly, I have a native application, or a native iOS experience. So I've got a compensation component. So this could be used on an iPhone or an iPad in native way. So I can go back and I can again very similarly look at default pay stubs, however the default view is defined, be able to drill down on those details, and again be able to search. So again, the native date rollers, I could go in again and I can search for pay stubs for any particular time frame, and be able to pull up those results, and then be able to look at a particular pay stub. So again, being able to see that information and make it available to me, and I can again for an iPhone or an iPad. So what we've seen is, just to summarize, we've looked at compensation module in SharePoint, in HTML5 as a mobile web application, and we've seen it as a native iOS application. We also have it as an Android application. I just didn't demonstrate that there, but we do also have that. We also have a number of other ways to show We also have a number of other ways. This, for example, is a different view or a different theme and design layout, different CSS for compensation. And here you can see, again, very similar functions, being able to search for a pay stub, a little bit different behavior, but the same types of capability. And you can see the federal and state tax withholding here in this case. It's got a slightly different UI, but being able to add a tax amount or an exemption amount and be able to do that. So a little bit different experience, a little bit different UI, but just being able to show that flexibility in MyOVS. Thanks.